What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the wired Predator again. Wired e-bikes, that's always fun. We can make a video about wired. Start getting some interesting comments and engagement on YouTube. So about a week ago, I made a video. Wired Predator is dangerous until this gets fixed. So in this video, I share my concerns and an observation that the wired Predator appears to be a very powerful dual motor e-bike with both motors, front and rear wheel motors are both hooked to the same throttle. So when you give the throttle full power, both wheels just want to go. They just want to go, right? Full power. Right? So it seemed to me, right, based on that video, the first video that Citizen Cycle did, where he was going from 0 to 35 miles an hour with the front wheel just spinning uncontrollably the whole entire time, um, like I made the observation that that seemed like it could be a little bit dangerous for the average person that's just going to jump on an e-bike, turn it up to full pedal assist, full power, and then just hit the throttle, right? So that's what everybody's going to do. Everybody that buys a $3,000 e-bike that can go this fast and has that much power, like I was getting the argument in the comments that, oh, they're like, no, guys, like don't be stupid. People are gonna put this thing on full power and give it the throttle. Like just don't leave those comments insulting our intelligence. It's just like stop. All right. So, and I went into this video, people in the comments, they seem to think that I had some kind of like preconceived notion or like um ulterior motive behind making the video. And the whole I'm an e-bike builder, guys. Like I see a YouTube video about e-bikes and I make an observation, right? Like it's just sharing my opinions. I don't have any like dogs in the game here. I don't have any dogs in the fight or what are horses in the race. Like I don't care what happens with this thing. I'm not saying that they should I'm not saying that the FBI should kick in Wired's doors and then force them to fix it, right? I was just making the observation that's dangerous based on my experience using dual motor bikes, and then I even made a suggestion on how you could make it, a little more intuitive and like safer. Just put a second throttle on it, a separate throttle for the front motor is how I prefer to use dual motor e-bikes. Right? It's two throttles because then when you have a separate throttle for the front motor, it's very what's the word? Intentional. It's very like when you're using that front motor on its own throttle, like it's very intentional, right? Like you hit the specific throttle for that specific motor, and you know what's gonna happen, right? And it's very intentional. So I made this video. A lot of people got like ideas about like how I was up to something. I don't know. Like I'm not up to something. I'm just so now this video, the whole point of this video is now Citizen Cycle, also known as Wired E-Bike's marketing department because they're too scared to ride their questionably their e-bikes that are the legality of which is questionable. So they have Citizen Cycle ride the bike for them. I don't know if Wired if they can even ride a bike because we've never seen them in a picture anywhere riding a bike. But a Citizen Cycle can ride it for them. So yeah, now he's made another video. This seems like it's in response to maybe in response to the concerns that I raised in my video. I don't know. I'm sure Wired didn't like my video. They probably don't like me. I don't like them. But I don't really care. Like they're just some shitty e-bike. I don't care. So in this video, we're gonna go look at this new one, this new video from Citizen Cycle. So it's right here. It says, is it rideable?
They're legally robbing you.
Taming the 6,000 watt Predator e-bike. Right. So let's go watch this quick. Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Let me get this. Let's see. Can I get this so it's like bigger for you guys? There we go. Um. Turn the quality up a little bit. Let's move me a little bit here. There we go. Alright. Okay, so it said previously on Citizen Cycle. So the first thing that we're doing here is we're still like advertising the full power of this bike. Like this. So I guess there's something cool about spinning your front tire down the street uncontrollably until you get going 30 miles an hour when the tire finally grabs traction. So that's how they like to market this thing.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh, man.
And so it is impressive, right? Like I even said that in my previous video. Like it's impressive, right? It's a powerful e-bike. But, right, so the observation that I'm making is it just seems a little bit dangerous to have that front motor hooked to that same throttle where like just the average normie is gonna hop on and just gun it, right? So I haven't watched this yet. I'm gonna watch this. I'm just gonna react to this and offer my observations again. Some people were telling me that when you use the pedal assist, it's only the rear motor, but then when you use the throttle, it's the front motor and the rear motor, both motors. I don't know, right? I mean, if there's something about like if I'm wrong or something, like if they have some way to control the front motor, then I'll eat my words. I don't care, right? Like I don't have any horses in the race. I don't care. I don't want a wired e-bike. I don't want to be friends with wired.
40. Wow.
So let's
You're
watch
strong
this.
10.
Let's see what they have to say about taming.
Oh, the acceleration. Jeez, oh man. Look at that power.
Okay, so we've got like a I don't know. I mean, this intro is going for a while here. 30 seconds?
It's bunny hopping down the road. What's going on, everyone? This is the all-new Wired Predator, a 6,000-watt e-bike.
So can you guys tell, did they change anything? Like, is this just a Freedom with a motor in the front wheel? Or did something else change? Like, I haven't really, like, looked at this thing close enough. I don't care enough to look at this thing that closely. We're just going to continue on here, but I'd be interested to know, like, did they change anything else for this, or did they just slap a front motor on a Freedom?
6,000-watt beast. But can it be tamed? Can we tame this beast? Is it too dangerous? You know,
One other thing I would say is that advertising, I don't know, like when you're advertising an e-bike and you're advertising it as 6,000 watts, like that should really be like, well, 6,000 watts peak, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, when you're thinking of a 750 watt e-bike, those e-bikes are 750 watt, like nominal, like continuous, average, right? And so that is how motors are advertised, right? Is by the nominal average power usage, 750 watt motor, 1,000 watt motor, right? But when you're using a 750 watt motor, depending on the controller that you're using, it could be doing 1,500 watts, right? A 750 watt motor, they're usually about 1,300 watts or like 1,400 watts, like 25 amps is about what a 750 watt motor uses. And then on a 1,000 watt motor, it's usually about 30 amps. So close to like 1,500 or 1,600 watts. But we see e-bike manufacturers, like they finally just started advertising the bike as this is a 750 watt motor and it's an actual 750 watt motor, right? But now we're kind of like going backwards here and we're advertising e-bikes with the peak power again, which, so the peak power, it's Ohm's law, right? It's just like the voltage times the amps, the current, and that's like the peak watts that you can get, right? But if you're using the voltage of a fully charged battery and you're using that as the calculation for the peak watts, like the discharge curve on a lithium battery, like when you first start discharging it, where's my hand? When you first start discharging a lithium battery, it starts dropping quickly, and then it kind of like kind of like levels out, and then when the battery starts to get a lot lower, down towards like 30%, then it just drops again. All right, so there's kind of like a discharge curve on lithium batteries where you're not going to get the peak watts except for like when you take it off the charger and just hit the throttle, like right there. That's the only time you're ever going to get the peak watts. So I don't like when they advertise these things using the peak watts. I think on this one it said the front motor is a 1,000 watt motor with a 40 amp controller, and it's on 60 volts. And then the rear motor, I don't know, what do they say, 1,500 watt motor on a 50 amp controller.
A lot of you saw my first video where
So let's see. So what are all the chapters in this? Like, so it says similar to Freedom, can power be managed? So okay,
I
let's
was
just.
really trying to showcase the power of this thing. We're doing top speed runs and hill climbs and 0 to 40 accelerations with 30-foot rolling.
So I'm kind of curious if this is just like a response, kind of like responding to my observations, or if this is like a damage control, like if they're concerned about the observations that I made. Like, let's see.
Burnouts. I mean, you can't give me an e-bike that's got almost 7,000 watts and not expect me to go a little bit crazy showing the power. But today I'm going to do the opposite of that. I want to know if this thing is like a dangerous beast that can't be tamed. Can you not ride this bike calmly? We're going to find out. Let's take it for a quick spin because I want to show you some interesting things about the Predator.
Okay, so just to be clear here, my concerns about a front motor with so much power is that when you just give it the throttle and there's no like there's no smooth starting of that torque on the front motor, like the front wheel just starts spinning, and then so if you're turning the bars at all, like if you've got, where's my camera? If you've got the bars, like if you're turning the bars at all on your bike, when that front wheel is just spinning out of control, whole front end of the bike slips out and you fall down out of nowhere. Like just fall down out of nowhere. Completely lose your balance because the front wheel slips out. Now, and then it's kind of the same thing. If you're it happens when you're like if you're turning the wheel and the front wheel doesn't have any traction. And also if you lean the bike, right? Like if you lean the bike and the front wheel doesn't have any traction, you can just totally slip out and fall down. And especially if you're doing both. Like if you're leaning and kind of turning the wheel, going around a corner, it's very easy to slip out. If you just give a front motor full throttle, full power. So now what I'm guessing here is he's just gonna like turn down the pedal assist and go slower and be like, "Look, guys, it's safe." Let's see what they do. I'm sure Wired told him to do this. They're, you know.
All right, let's go for a little ride here. This bike is it's very similar to the
So we're on pedal assist one. So nobody's gonna ride this thing on pedal assist one. Why would you buy this thing and ride it on pedal assist one?
Wired Freedom bike. The frames are pretty close. This one's got an extra box down by the bottom bracket to house the extra controller. Obviously, you got the front motor in there. It's got double crown forks to hold the front motor. What else? The rear controller is a 50 amp instead of a 45 like on the Freedom. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same. It's got the same brakes and display, same battery setup, same wheel tire package. It's, but can we just cruise normal
Okay.
as a regular bicycle? And how dangerous is the front wheel spin? You know, when you're making turns, you got to worry about that wheel slipping out from under you. So, and what can you do to manage the power on this thing? You can't give it that much power and not ways to manage it. So, I'm going to show you that today because there's basically 4 things about this bike that make it drivable.
Okay. So I mean, I will admit, the last time that I made that previous video, I didn't look into it I didn't look into it too closely, right? He's the only one that had the bike. He puts up a video marketing the bike. I was just watching the video and I was like, this seems dangerous. So let's see, what are these things? Let's keep watching.
In fact, very, very drivable that I found. I've been playing with this all day, just kind of fine tuning the settings, and I've got it dialed in now where it's a pretty easy going bike, right?
Okay, so it sounds like he had to go into the settings and change some of the settings, right? So what I would say about that is that maybe Wired should do that as the manufacturer of the bike. Maybe Wired should tweak the settings before they ship these bikes out to people, because not everybody is a Citizen Cycle that's going to be tweaking the settings and working directly with Wired to do so. Right? So
Right now. It's not, I wouldn't say it's dangerous at all the way it's set right now. So let me show you a few things here. I'm going to do a U-turn. This whole time we've been riding and talking, I'm in all-wheel drive right now. I am in all-wheel drive. I'm going to do a U-turn, and I'm going to pedal through the U-turn in all-wheel drive. Here we go.
so here's the thing about U-turns is like when you're doing a U-turn, it's easier to throttle. Like it's whenever you're turning, especially with these BMX bars on this and these triple crown forks, like this steering, the turning radius probably isn't the greatest. Especially the triple crown forks, like you can't usually turn the bars more than like, like a 45-degree kind of thing. So I would say when you're doing a U-turn, you would probably like I would probably use the throttle just so I don't have a pedal strike. Like anytime you're doing technical steering at slow speeds, it's easier to just use the throttle than to be pedaling. Is my opinion. That's my observation. So I mean, like if I was gonna make a U-turn, I wouldn't even be doing the pedals. I would be throttling. But let's see how this works. Let's see how we can do a U-turn in pedal assist one, like a grandma.
Okay, ready? Start pedaling. Pedal the whole way through.
So I would say turning radius, he went off the side of the road, like into the shoulder. Couldn't even do the U-turn in the street, is what that looked like. Like, let's go back here. And it looked like he was riding it like a grandma on purpose. Like, look at this.
Pedal the whole way through.
That just to me like it seems like he was like intentionally like being careful and going slow. Like
Look at that. No front wheel spin out from under me or anything like that. Now watch this. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it with full throttle. You ready? Watch, you can watch my throttle hand. Full throttle.
yeah, but why would you want your throttle set up so slow like that? Like it's nice that you can change the settings so that the throttle starts up smoothly when you want to do a U-turn and show everybody on YouTube that it's not dangerous. But if you actually want to ride this bike, right, and you want to use the throttle to go fast when you want to go fast, and then you want to be able to do a U-turn without crashing, like I don't have to change my settings in the controller parameters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be one way to set this bike up so that I can use the full power of the throttle, and I don't have to change all of the settings, and I can still do a U-turn with the bike. Let's keep going.
Full throttle U-turn in all-wheel drive with zero wheel spin. How is that possible? Let's do this. Here is a from a stop, full throttle, all-wheel drive.
Why would you want that? Why would you want that? Like, what is this? Guys, I didn't think that I was gonna get worked up watching this video. I thought that I was gonna maybe eat my words here, and they had something built into this thing that was gonna make it more reasonable that I wasn't aware of, and I thought I was gonna be making a video where I'm kind of like, oh man, I'm kind of an idiot, but I'm still like, this isn't convincing me. This is not convincing me.
Where is the 30-foot rolling burnout? Where is it all at?
Well, I think we're on pedal assist 1, and we've changed the parameters in such a way where we turned this into the wired grandma bike, where it goes it goes like a 500-watt piece of garbage. Like, why would you buy this bike and set it up like this? Why would you want that?
Well, I've addressed it with the settings. This thing is highly programmable. So let me tell you the first thing that makes this very drivable. Okay, I'm in all-wheel drive. The front motor does not work with pedal assist. So when I start pedaling,
Okay, so somebody told me this. Pedal assist does not engage the front motor. Somebody told me this on my previous video. So that, I mean, that's like one small step in the right direction. Pedal assist does not do front motor. And that makes sense. I think that's probably a good way to have it set up, right? You're just pedaling just the rear motor, and then, but the thing, I still don't like how they have this throttle set up. So let's keep going here. Let's see if they've, like, if there's any way. Let's see what else they have. Apparently there's 4 ways. That's what he's telling us.
I'm only getting rear motor. It doesn't matter if I'm going 7 miles an hour or 37 miles an hour. Pedal assist never engages the front motor. Never. The only way you get front motor is with the throttle. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, when you hit that front throttle, you're going to get both motors, right? Well, there you go. There's front throttle, full blast. And the front motor is working, but I'm not getting crazy burnout power. And this is all because of the settings. So the first thing is when you pedal, there's no front motor. That's a great setup. That makes it very, very drivable. You don't have to worry about accidentally pedaling in a turn and getting front wheels.
Let's
The
skip ahead.
settings for the power management, the pedal assist management settings, you can go in this display and set it up to deliver however much power you want in every pedal assist level. So right now I've got it, I'm in pedal assist 1, I've got it set to give me 9% of the power. It's giving me 264 watts. 264 watts, that's it. In pedal assist 1. I've got pedal assist 2 set to like, I think 12%. So if I go to 2 and start pedaling,
Okay, so it looks like it's kind of got, your typical e-bike display where you can set the power per pedal assist levels. Looks like there's 5 pedal assist levels. So there's some configuration, some customizability right here that we can do. But, so let's keep going here.
it's giving me a little bit more. Right there, I'm getting 395, 395 watts.
It just seems,
So you could really dial this thing back. And that's what I did. I just dialed it way back. So when I'm in pedal assist 1 and 2, I'm sipping. I'm lightly sipping at that
so I thought,
6,000 watts of
man,
power.
okay,
I'm
so what,
the third
I thought that they had, I thought that they had something here. Like they were gonna completely prove me wrong, and I don't know. Let's see.
reason that you can really dial this thing back is that the pedal assist system is watt based. Okay, it's a cadence sensor bike. So as soon as you start turning those pedals, it's going to start giving you power. But it's watt based. It only gives you the amount of watts and the amount of power you've asked for. A lot of the systems on these bikes are speed based. So when you're in pedal assist 1 and you start pedaling, those bikes, they give you like all this power. They give you like 1,000 watts and they drag you up to 10 miles an hour, and then it cuts out because it hit that, speed limit for pedal assist 1. This isn't like that. It doesn't matter if I'm going 7 miles an hour or 40.
Okay, so like I don't know what that has to do. Like, how is that a separate? Like, how is that being counted as a separate feature? That okay. He said there were 4. He said there were 3 or 4 things that, like 3 or 4 things that make this safe. Where you can, but I don't
One
know.
last thing
This reminds me of like when I was doing a report in high school. I was like trying to come up with 4 things, just because that was like the what you had to do.
that makes this extremely drivable, and that is the throttle follow feature.
Okay, throttle follow. What is this? I never even heard of throttle follow. Whoa.
So right now I've got it in Throttle follow is on. It's in the on setting, which means my throttle is linked to my pedal assist. So it doesn't matter if I'm pedaling.
Okay. So that's kind of nice. So they have some way where you can link the throttle's power to the pedal assist power, right? Because in a lot of e-bikes, that's not really like something that you can change, right? A lot of e-bike controllers, it's just like either yes, the throttle is linked to the pedal assist power level, and then you can change the throttle power by changing your pedal assist power, or no, it's not like that, right? And the throttle, usually the throttle will just give full power if it's not connected to the pedal assist level at all. So there's kind of like two ways that a lot of e-bikes work, and usually you can't switch between those two ways. But in this case, this throttle follow thing, it does seem like a new, kind of like a new feature that's available on these controllers in the display. So you can kind of change that behavior, turn it on and off, yes or no, for the throttle follow. I don't know why they call it throttle follow. It's kind of a, it sounds like a Chinese thing. But, and I love Chinese people. But I mean, it just sounds like a mistranslation or like something like throttle follow. I don't know. Um, So that's nice that you can set the throttle to attach to the pedal assist power level. But so in my opinion, I don't like powering my e-bike like using pedal assist levels like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just I don't like that. I like having a throttle where the throttle has a lot of power but it's controllable, right? And then you can use the power when you want to use the power, as long as you're not an idiot, right? But then if you want to go slow, like there's a lot of modulation on the throttle and a lot of control with the throttle, right? And so that's how I like my bikes. And if I have a second motor, like I just want a whole separate throttle for that front motor because that's just the safest way to do it. It makes using that front motor intentional. There's never going to be like any surprise, your wheel slipped out and you fell down going 30 miles an hour, right? It's very intentional, second throttle. And I still think that this thing needs a second throttle. And I don't know what Wired is doing here. Like if Wired knew what was good for them, they would be scrambling to their China people and they would be saying, "Hey, figure out how can we get a second throttle on this thing for the front motor." But I think these Wired guys, like they just got a stick up their ass. And they just like they're not listening to me. Right? Like I'm the last person that they're going to listen to. Right? But so apparently throttle can be tied to the pedal assist or not, and you can change that in the settings.
Or if I hit the throttle like this, I'm only getting, well, I'm getting 500 watts right now because it's given that 9% of power to both motors.
Okay, so again, my issue with this is you have to go into the settings and change your power levels and like configure your pedal assist and like use pedal assist levels and do all this stuff in order to like, make it rideable or not, right? So the other question is how is Wired going to ship these things? What is the default behavior going to be? When I'm clicking through the pedal assist levels on the Wired that I just unboxed, just came in the mail. How's Wired going to have this configured? Are they going to have it configured like this, where it's really tamed down? Probably not, because then people get their bike and they're using it and it's tamed down and they're going to be like, well, this thing sucks. It doesn't seem very good. And they're not going to realize that you can go into the settings and change that stuff. So my guess would be that Wired, they're just going to ship this thing out with the pedal assist sent to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100% power. And so if you take this bike out of the box, bump it up to pedal assist 5, full power, give it the throttle, like it's still, my concerns of danger still remain, right? Like, now I'm not saying that anything should be done about it, I'm just making an observation that the front motor spinning out is dangerous, and I'm making the suggestion that Wired consider a second throttle as an option for this bike. I'm not saying anything else. That's all I'm saying. Just an observation and an opinion, a suggestion that I'm sharing.
So you never get that crazy burnout like this. Even if I go to pedal assist 2 and hit the throttle, now I'm getting 724 watts.
See, I'm just getting bored. Like, I'm just getting bored of this. Okay, so throttle, okay. So full power demo. I don't know. I mean, it just looks the same to me, right? It looks the same to me, except you just turned the power down to pedal assist 1 and then changed the parameters and like toned it way down. I mean, you can go slow on any e-bike. You can turn any, you can like, he could turn the power off, you could turn it down to pedal assist 0 and probably just pedal it if he wanted, right? Like, you can do this on any e-bike. What I'm talking about is this thing's going to show up in a box at people's house. So what is that default behavior going to be that people are experiencing? The end user, the customers, right? They're going to take it out of the box. Pedal assist 5, full throttle. That's just what people are going to do. Don't tell me otherwise, comment people. Like, that's what people are going to do. That's what you would do if you paid $3,000 for this thing and you took it out of the box. You put it on pedal assist 5, full throttle, full power, let's go. That's what we would all do. So don't insult my intelligence and play stupid here. So, okay, full power demo. Like, just show me the demo. Let's see.
Settings. Now I've got the pedal assist set where, 4, 5, those levels are giving me all the power. So if you want to see what that looks like, I mean, you just got to punch it up to, let's put in pedal assist 5. I think I have this set to give me all the power. So that'll show you what that's like up here. All right, here's all the power. There's your 30-foot rolling burnout. There it is. That's
So so it can be fun, right? Like, I've done this. It can be fun doing those front burnouts like that. People are just like, "What in the hell is going on?" And you're spitting gravel clouds all over the place. Like, if you're, there have been times where I was at like an intersection waiting to cross the street, and there's all these people like waiting to walk through the crosswalks and stuff, and then the light turns green and you just floor it, and you're just doing like a screeching front wheel burnout across an intersection, and everybody is looking at you laughing like, what in the hell is this contraption that is screeching across the intersection? Like, you can do some funny things with it and it could be fun, right? Like, I've had this on my bike. I'm not saying that it should be illegal. Like, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I'm talking about like the default behavior of the bike that we're shipping out to people, probably without like any kind of like a warning or anything, like these dual motor bikes.
a lot of power. In this setup with 100% power, yeah, I ain't pedaling in turns. I ain't you again. This is not a bike for everybody. Absolutely not. If you don't know what you're doing, if you've never ridden all-wheel drive, I wouldn't recommend you get this. Get the Freedom. Get the Wired Freedom. That's got a lot of power. That's got plenty of power for the average person. This one's for the guy who has 5 bikes in his garage, multiple all-wheel drive bikes. He's a power enthusiast. He just wants a ton of power. Yeah, then you go ahead, go get a Predator. Yeah, you'll love it. You will love the thing, and you can still make it drivable like this. But this bike is an anomaly. I don't know anything else like it, really. I mean, I've got some serious all-wheel drive bikes in my garage. I got a Furious EMX Ultimate 60 volt and a Grizzly and an Enioki A8 Pro Max and all these other all-wheel drives that are really fast and powerful, but they don't come anywhere near touching the performance specs of this thing. But I think we should head back to the garage. I want to kind of show you this thing next to a Freedom so you can see the difference. All right, we got to jump out here on a 45-mile-an-hour road. Let's punch it up to full power so we can keep up with traffic. All right.
So you see how he had to turn the bike straight in the direction that he wanted to go. Like, he's not. he's not making like a big, you know, like turning across the intersection like a car would in like an arc. Like he turned the bike straight to the left in the direction that he wanted to turn because he knows that this thing is on full power. And if you try and turn this wheel at all when it's on pedal assist 5 and you give it power, the front wheel is just going to slip out. And so if he would have turned this thing like a normal bike around this corner without turning it beforehand, like he's riding it in a, he knows how to ride this thing because he has experience riding dual motor bikes. I mean, look at what he just did here. So like this is what I'm talking about. Like people that buy this bike, like they're not gonna realize this, right? This is how you gotta turn it. Like you just have to aim the thing straight before you even hit the throttle. Watch this.
Graphic.
See, look at this. Oh yeah.
All right, here we go.
See, like even when he had that thing turned and he was aiming it straight, like the wheel was still spinning out.
All right, graphic. All right, here we go.
So I saw the wheel break out up to 20, and then I saw it break out of traction again a little bit around 27 miles an hour.
I mean, right at the 40.
It seems like it accelerates pretty fast, but it doesn't seem like the top speed is a whole lot faster than a Freedom. I bet it would go up hills a lot better than a Freedom. But the top speed, dual motors doesn't really increase the top speed by a whole lot. Maybe like a mile an hour or so.
Like nothing. And yes, I do have it maxed out. I have the speed limit set to like 66 miles an hour. I mean, I've got it. There's no more. It does not go any faster. People were asking me that. Can you unlock it faster? It's got 60 volts and these motors, it should be going 50, 60 miles an hour. No, that
It would be interesting to see this bike race against like a, like a big direct drive hub motor, like an actual like 3,000 watt or like a 4,000 watt hub motor. It would be interesting to see that acceleration off the line. I bet the Freedom would be pretty fast with the dual motors and all that torque. But then I bet if you had a direct drive hub motor with kind of like a faster winding, I bet it would just like once it got up to like 30 something maybe, or like once it got up to a certain speed, that direct drive would probably just be like take off like an Onyx or something up to up to like 50 something.
that's as fast as these motors spin. You're going to get 43, 44 miles an hour out of this bike, which I mean, I think is plenty.
I wonder how fast this thing would go on 72 volts. It would be, what is that, like four more cells in series than a 60-volt battery. So it would be, let's see, like 8 volts higher on nominally or something like that, 9 volts higher. So times the motor windings, probably like 9 times, I don't know, like 9 times 8 or 9 times 9 RPM faster on 72 volts.
That's kind of my magic number for an e-bike is 40 miles an hour. I think as long as you got that, totally fine. If I need to go 50, 60, 70 miles an hour,
So I'd agree with that. If 40 miles an hour for e-bikes is pretty good. I don't really feel like going a whole lot faster than 40 on an e-bike unless it's got like motorcycle rims and tires and stuff like. All right, so I don't know. Like this is getting kind of long. That was it, guys. I mean, like my opinion hasn't really changed at all. I'm sure there's some way that you can mess around with it and change the settings and put it on pedal assist 1 to tone it down. But then you got to turn pedal assist back up when you want to go faster. I mean, I guess that might work for some people. I don't really like pedal assist at all. I don't like using pedal assist like these pedal assist like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I don't like doing that and having to mess with that for my power levels. I think that is just gonna be like like a legacy e-bike behavior. Like eventually the pedal assist isn't gonna work like that. They'll all probably be torque sensors. You're not gonna have like a pedal assist level where you gotta like push the buttons up and down and stuff. I've never really liked that behavior with a pedal assist. It's nice that you can do that throttle follow, where you can make the throttle use the pedal assist level that you have, or you can change that behavior, whether the throttle behaves like that or not. So that's nice. But I would still say that they should probably. I would rather. You can see they have this 3 toggle switch on here, and I don't even think he talked about this. But I'm assuming that this rocker switch right here, this red thing on the left handlebars, I'm assuming that that rocker switch lets you turn off the front motor or put it into dual motors or whatever. I don't think he even mentioned that in this video, that it's got that rocker switch. And that's how the Aerial Rider Grizzly worked. But yeah. So then I guess the other thing is like people keep asking me in the comments, "Why do you care? Why do you care?" And people are like calling me a Karen and stuff. Like I don't care. Like if you want to buy this thing and then go out and crash it, like there's nothing that I can do about that. I can't help you. But if you're considering buying this bike and you're not aware of the dangers of dual motors, I mean, my concern is like somebody who's never rode a dual motor bike ever, right? Would buy this thing, put it on Pegasus 5 and just rip off on it, right? Like it just seems like a recipe for disaster. So I don't know if it's a matter of tweaking the default settings or like putting some kind of like a warning in the instruction manual, or like personally, and I'm going to keep going back to this is my suggestion. This is what I would do if this was my bike that I was going to sell. Let's just put a second throttle on there. I would use thumb throttles, or maybe like if these wired guys are twist throttle fanboys and they got to have their twist throttle. Okay, so make the twist throttle for the rear motor, but then maybe you could have a thumb throttle for the front motor that would go where this rocker switch is, right? Get rid of the rocker switch and just put the front motor on a throttle. And so then it's very intentional whenever you're using the front motor, like you have to press the throttle. And there's no like, there's no question about like, is the front motor going or like what's going on? Why did I crash and slip out? It's just like cause and effect. You hit the throttle for the front motor, front wheel spins out, you crash, you learn your lesson, right? Like it's like cause and effect. You understand what happened, but like I never liked having both of my hub motors on the same throttle when there was any front wheel spin at all. Like you have to do something about that, or it's just not practical. Like there's no practical use for it. You're burning through the rubber on your front tire, right? There's no practical use for a tire that is just spinning on the pavement. Nothing practical about that, right? And then so if you're not aware of like turning the bars or leaning the bike when that front wheel is spinning out, like you're just going to crash and you're going to get hurt. And that's my concern. Like I don't care if they want to sell these things, if people are out there crashing them, I mean that's not my problem. I don't care. I'm just making an observation. Right? So there are a lot of people like calling me a Karen in the comments, and like I think it's cool. I think it's a cool bike. I'm just making an observation, right? Seems like it's a little bit dangerous. It does seem like you can tame it down, but I'm still not convinced that this is the way. It seems like they're just kind of scrambling to kind of like explain themselves and provide some suggestions and ways that you can kind of tone it down with the parameters and using the pedal assist levels and then using that throttle follow to make the bike safer. It remains to be seen how Wired is going to actually ship this bike, what settings they're going to use, what is the behavior going to be when you just pull it out of the box. Is there going to be like a warning anywhere Are they going to warn anybody about, dual motors? Have the people at Wired, have they ever ridden a bike? Have they ever ridden a dual hub bike? We don't know. We still haven't seen any pictures of Wired. They still don't. They have a YouTube, but they have one video on there where they didn't show their face and they used like an AI voice. So I don't know. I don't know. So that's the Wired Predator. It still seems like it could potentially be dangerous to me, but it is what it is. People are going to buy it. People are going to crash it regardless of how they set up the throttle, right? Like, what is it? Murphy's Law? Like, if something can go wrong, it will, right? So it doesn't matter how they set this thing up. If it's a 6,000 watt e-bike with a front motor that's doing that kind of power, there's going to be some possibility of somebody slipping out, getting hurt. It's a bike, right? It's a bike. You could turn the power off and ride it down a hill and fall off and get hurt, right? So, I mean, in terms of your opinion and what you think, it's just a matter of perception, guys. And so, in my opinion, it's just a little bit dangerous. It seems like a cool bike. I think they should put a separate throttle on it for that front motor, but that's just me. I'm sure Wired, they're just gonna do what they're gonna do and get these things out to market as soon as possible to make that money that they love. The love of money, right? All right, I don't know what else to say about this thing. It hasn't really changed my opinion at all. So, thanks for the video, Citizen Cycle. Thanks for sharing this bike with us. He's also Wired's marketing department. So I don't know, guys. What do you think about this Wired Predator e-bike? Would you dink around with the pedal assist levels? Would you go into the settings and do all this stuff? Or would you just take the bike out of the box, pump it up to pedal assist 5, and take it out for a rip? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Leave a Karen comment in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.